It seemed like just another ordinary day, until four Italian scholars stepped up to the podium at an international press conference and revealed a discovery that stunned the world. They didn't bring vague theories or outdated speculation, but presented hard results from cutting-edge ground-penetrating radar technology combined with data from today's most advanced satellites. The focus of their investigation, the Khufu Pyramid at Giza, one of humanity's most mysterious structures. The result, 8 vertical shafts, each plunging to a depth of 648 meters, deeper than the height of the Shanghai Tower, the third tallest building in the world. But that was only the tip of the iceberg. At the bottom of these shafts, they uncovered 2 enormous box-shaped voids, each 80 meters long and 75 meters high, like 2 massive water reservoirs buried nearly 700 meters beneath the surface. Why would such mysterious chambers exist beneath the pyramid? Who built them? And for what purpose could they be hiding something that goes far beyond our current understanding of ancient Egyptian civilization? Or could it be that the Khufu Pyramid was never a tomb at all, but rather a gateway to something humanity has never known? The truth is gradually being revealed, and it could change everything we know about human history. At the press conference, technology expert Filippo explained that they had used SAR synthetic aperture radar, a system that uses radar waves to produce highly detailed images of the Earth's surface. It was this very technology that detected a series of strange voids beneath the Giza Plateau, almost as if a vast underground city had been buried there thousands of years ago. However, radar has its limits, especially when probing deep beneath the ground. To overcome this, the research team also collected seismic wave data, ultra-small ground vibrations, in the area around the pyramid. They then integrated both data sources, radar and seismic, into specialized processing software to reconstruct a 3-dimensional model of the internal and underground structure of the entire pyramid. Thanks to this breakthrough technology, secrets that had been buried for thousands of years are finally coming to light. But before we dive deeper into these astonishing findings, let's first take a look at the 4 key members of the research team. Who are they? Among the 4, there are 3 PhDs and 1 communications spokesperson. Leading the team is Credo, a PhD in applied chemistry and fundamental physics. Next is Mele, an Egyptologist with a doctorate in ancient history. Filippo is the radar technology expert. And finally, Miss Nikolai, the media specialist who organized the entire press conference announcing this historic discovery. Now let's take a closer look at the findings they revealed. As widely known, there are 3 major pyramids on the Giza Plateau. The public is most familiar with the northernmost one, the Pyramid of Khufu, famous for having a large internal burial chamber. It was from this that archaeologists concluded the pyramids were tombs for the pharaohs. However, it is actually the Pyramid of Khafre, located in the center, that is the most imposing. Though only 136 meters tall, it stands on a higher bedrock foundation, making it appear even more massive. The iconic Sphinx statue is also an accompanying structure to this pyramid. Another remarkable feature is that Khafre's summit still retains its original white limestone cap, a feature no longer present on Khufu's pyramid. This indicates that at the time the Khafre pyramid was built, the ancient Egyptians not only had advanced construction techniques, but also wielded immense national power. They didn't just build to bury, they built to assert their authority and strength, perhaps as a reflection of a civilization at the very peak of its glory. However, when compared to the interior of Khufu's pyramid, Khafre's internal structure is surprisingly simple, consisting of only a small burial chamber and a corridor. It pales in complexity. Why is that? This remains a question that archaeologists have been unable to answer for decades. But this time, the research team announced a series of new findings that left both the academic world and the public stunned. According to the radar and seismic data collected, the Khafre pyramid actually contains up to 5 structures similar to the King's Chamber inside Khufu's pyramid. What's more, these chambers are connected by large corridors. If this is true, it would mean that for more than 200 years since the West rediscovered the pyramids in the 19th century, no one had ever detected this spatial system, or worse, someone did, but deliberately hid it. Keep in mind, just a single chamber in one corridor inside the Khufu pyramid has already spawned countless controversial theories. From the piezoelectric theory to hydraulic theories to siphon mechanisms, each one has left researchers scratching their heads. But if there are truly 5 chambers inside Khafre's pyramid, it's almost certain that it was never intended as a tomb. No pharaoh would divide their body into 5 parts to bury in 5 different rooms. Even in Khufu's case, one could still argue there was one chamber for the king and another for the queen. But in this case, are we to assume 1 king and 4 queens, and that's not all? Radar data also revealed up to 80 spiral-shaped shafts beneath the ground, each clearly showing their helical patterns in the 3D models. During the press conference, Egyptologist Mele pointed out that this type of spiral shaft has never been seen in any known ancient Egyptian structure. Strangely, they bear a strong resemblance to the Well of St. Patrick in Italy, a medieval hydraulic structure inspired by a legend about a cave that led directly to hell in Ireland. A similar architectural style was also found in the stepwell of Dadahari in Gujarat, India, built in the 15th century. However, throughout the entire history of ancient Egyptian architecture, such deep spiral well structures have never been recorded. And if they truly are spiral shafts, a serious engineering question arises. How did the ancients reinforce these hundreds of meters deep wells to prevent collapse? In modern engineering, deep shafts must be carefully reinforced with load-bearing materials. Otherwise, the pressure from the surrounding earth would quickly cause the walls to cave in. And yet these 8 spiral shafts reach a depth of 648 meters, far deeper than many modern structures. How could the ancient Egyptians dig that deep and, more importantly, reinforce them so securely? Even the research team admitted it defies the imagination. As a result, internet users began putting forth bold theories. Some speculated that these weren't wells at all, but enormous columns of some kind. This theory recalls a well-known image circulating online where people suggest that the pyramids are merely the visible tips of massive underground pillars. Some have even imagined the entire structure as a kind of giant spring. One internet user even created a 2-scale 3D model showing the entire structure resembling a colossal toy coiled tightly ready to spring open. At the bottom of these 8 shafts, nearly 700 meters below ground, are 2 gigantic rectangular chambers. Each one measures 80 meters in length and 75 meters in height. What are they? No one really knows. At that depth, even modern construction technology would struggle. How were they excavated? How was the earth removed? How were the chambers reinforced? None of these questions have definitive answers. Could they have relied solely on the 8 vertical shafts like elevator shafts for moving materials up and down? Even in Chinese imperial tombs, which are only a few dozen meters deep, massive underground corridors and chambers were needed for construction. So if these 2 vast chambers, nearly 700 meters underground, truly exist, why haven't they collapsed? If they are still intact, it's very likely that they've already been infiltrated by groundwater. For decades now, the upper reaches of the Nile River have been blocked by large dams, causing the groundwater level in this area to rise significantly. In a 1996 documentary by Dr. Zahi Hawass, the director of Egypt's Antiquities Department, he discovered a structure called the Crown of Osiris at just 30 meters underground, and it was already completely submerged. According to Dr. Hawass, the groundwater level has since risen by another 7 to 8 meters. That means almost everything underground is now flooded. So the discovery of structures as deep as 700 meters raises a serious question. Why haven't they collapsed directly beneath the 2 massive rectangular spaces around 600 meters underground? Radar data detected a complex network of interwoven structures, both vertical and horizontal. Remarkably, these formations do not lie solely beneath the Pyramid of Khafre. They stretch across the entire Giza Plateau underneath all 3 major pyramids. What are they? During the press conference, Egyptologist Mele put forward a bold hypothesis. Could these underground structures be connected to the afterlife, as described in the Book of the Dead, a sacred text detailing ancient Egyptian beliefs about death? According to the book, far beneath the surface lies a spiritual realm known as Duat, where the souls of the dead are judged. In this ritual, the jackal-headed god Anubis weighs the heart of the deceased on a scale. On the other side of the scale lies the feather of Maat, goddess of truth. If the heart is lighter than the feather, the soul is allowed to pass into the afterlife. If this theory is true, could it be that the two enormous rectangular chambers were the very sites where this weighing of the heart ritual took place? And deeper still, around 2 kilometers below the surface, could there be an actual underworld city, just as described in legend? Could the Book of the Dead be describing a real structure, one where the ancient Egyptians attempted to create a system of soul regeneration beneath the earth? These were the 4 most significant findings announced by the research team at the press conference Revelations that could completely upend our current understanding of ancient Egyptian civilization. Naturally, many might ask, if we want to verify these claims, what's so difficult? Just dig down and find out. But that's precisely where the problem lies. The man nicknamed the Screaming Minister, who appears anytime Egypt is discussed, is none other than Dr. Jia Hai Hao. He is famous not just for being the director of Egypt's Antiquities Department, but also for his fiery debates and explosive reactions whenever anyone proposes unorthodox theories about ancient Egypt. Take, for instance, the infamous 1992 Gantenbrink door incident. A robot explorer discovered a small door with copper handles deep inside a hidden shaft of a pyramid. Jia Hai reacted so fiercely that he was forced to resign. However, he returned to the archaeological scene soon after thanks to another controversy involving Dr. Schock, a brilliant young geologist. In 1996, Dr. Schock studied the Sphinx and proposed that the statue showed signs of water erosion, suggesting it might be as much as 9,000 years old, an assertion that rocked the archaeological world. Immediately, Hai Hao launched a full-scale attack, branding Schock a pseudo-scientist, and that assault helped him regain his position. Since then, anyone proposing ideas that contradict mainstream academic opinion has been banned from conducting archaeological work. Jia Hai always employs the same strategy: criticize, label, shame, turn, opposing views into heresy, and use that label as a weapon to suppress them. So what was Jia Hai's reaction to this latest shocking discovery by the team of 4 researchers? Are they really pseudoscientists, as he claims? 6 days after the press conference on the 22nd of that month, Jia Hai posted a statement on his personal Facebook page declaring the entire discovery fake news fabricated by a group of amateurs. He insisted that all the information they provided was false, lacked scientific basis, and that Egypt's Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities had not granted anyone permission to survey either inside or outside the Pyramid of Khafra. Therefore, he concluded that their alleged use of radar inside the pyramid was entirely fabricated. He also claimed that the technology they used was unverified, unapproved, and that the data they obtained would never be released. However, netizens immediately pointed out a major flaw in Zai's argument. It was clear he didn't actually understand the technology the team had employed. They didn't insert radar devices into the pyramid at all. Instead, they used data from SA satellites and ground seismic waves, which meant they never physically accessed the structure. So why did Zahi insist they had secretly used radar inside? In fact, even before he spoke out, many had questioned the approach. If this was truly a serious scientific study, why present it with such cinematic flair? From the dramatic title, The Pyramid and the Time Gate, to the sci-fi style teaser clips featuring pyramid satellites and holographic desert sands. Everything about the press conference felt more like a mystery show than an academic seminar. The speaker at the event even declared theatrically, "The moment has come, the time has come to reveal what has never been known." But in light of Zahi's harsh reaction, especially his statement that the findings will never be made public, we can begin to understand the researchers' dilemma. No matter what they discovered, it would be rejected if it clashed with what the academic establishment currently accepts. Could it be that the research team once pursued the traditional academic route, submitted their work, waited patiently, only to be dismissed and ignored? Perhaps that's why they resorted to a dramatic public reveal to attract attention. One critic remarked that the team's article was too long and seemed hastily written. The titles, charts, citations, and formatting were riddled with errors, making the analysis convoluted and difficult to follow. Both the research results and the strength of their arguments were lacking and would require significant revision before being suitable for publication in a serious scientific journal. On the 21st of that month, another figure, a former doctoral candidate known for proposing that Egyptian pyramids were designed for large-scale chemical production, unexpectedly voiced opposition. At first, many thought he would side with the research group as both shared an interest in unconventional theories. But instead, he released his own video response arguing that the team was far too amateurish. He pointed out a major error in their 2022 paper, the claim that the pyramid was built from 2.5-ton granite blocks. In reality, the majority of the pyramid structure is made from limestone. Granite was only used in specific areas, like the king's burial chamber main corridors, and a few special support stones. He didn't stop there. He published a comparison image showing the actual appearance of the Pyramid of Khafre alongside the radar scan provided by the research group. In the radar image, the right side showed a clear boundary, but the left side was blurry or entirely missing. The internal voids were also poorly defined. If this were just a margin of error, it was far too large to be acceptable. The most controversial image was one showing radar light spots. These points did not correspond to any known part of the pyramid's actual structure. Furthermore, he criticized the technical report the group had released. When reviewing the scan maps, he found a glaring contradiction. According to known cross-section diagrams, the base of the Pyramid of Khafre should contain several chambers of various shapes. Yet in the satellite scan, data released by the team, these chambers were completely absent. What's more, these chambers are not a matter of speculation. As early as 1818, an Italian expedition team, fellow countrymen of the current researchers, had entered the pyramid and fully documented these internal structures. So the question becomes, with modern technology, how could the group have missed what people had already discovered over 200 years ago? These criticisms are significant because they directly call into question the accuracy of the radar technology the group used. And when evaluating the 2022 paper in isolation, those critiques are not without merit. There are things that should have been detected but weren't. Even so, others argue that it's unrealistic to expect radar scanning to deliver perfect precision. Much like a CT scan to detect tumors, it doesn't always capture every detail flawlessly. In truth, the 2022 paper did successfully scan the internal structure of the king's burial chamber in the Pyramid of Khafre with reasonable accuracy. Therefore, it's very possible that this latest scan, despite not being a perfect match, still indicates that something unusual lies beneath the pyramid. By the 22nd of that month, a female presenter named Jana managed to contact a fifth member of the GR research group. This individual had long believed in the theory that beneath Egypt lies a vast, unexplored subterranean world. He had once spent his own money to produce a documentary titled The Secret Underground World of Egypt, with the aim of exposing hidden archaeological truths. Because of this, his ideology closely aligned with the research group's arguments, and he quietly became a powerful supporter behind the entire project. The group's technical report was first published via his personal social media account. Rossi acted like a megaphone for the team, not the official spokesperson, but enthusiastic and tireless. He even proposed bold theories such as the idea that the pyramid was actually a type of energy generator, with the spiral shafts and strange voids serving as internal components of this machine. Many people agreed with the group's theories. However, when host Jana conducted a live interview with Gra, considered the group's fifth member, cracks began to appear. Jana asked whether the team could recreate the process by which they discovered the underground structures, since the 3D models they published were truly astonishing. If you could reproduce the process from scratch, it would be far more convincing. Those images are hard to believe, Jana remarked. Rossi quickly replied that it was entirely possible, as they had used the same method from the 2022 study. But clearly Jana was asking whether the process could be demonstrated again, not just citing an old paper, as a way to dodge the question. Jana then suggested the team produce a short video about 30 minutes explaining their technology and discoveries in simple terms. Grassi responded that he had no official channel, but that many videos were already available online. Jana was unimpressed. She said she had already watched them, but all were in Italian. "Is there an English version?" she asked. Grassi replied, "It will come later." Jana could only force a smile. "Okay, The article's author added, at the time of writing the 4-hour press conference entirely in Italian, truly made one feel faint, and perhaps Jana felt the same way. She went on to ask whether the group had plans to release more clearly explained videos in the near future. Grassi candidly answered that, unfortunately, his computer was broken, so he hadn't been able to upload anything new. If my computer wasn't broken, I would have uploaded many more videos. The answer sounded so bizarre it sparked widespread doubts about the entire study. As skepticism grew, social media users began dissecting every detail. Someone discovered that the group's leader, Doctor of Science Corrado, was actually just a lecturer in organic chemistry at the University of Pisa, Italy. It's possible he never even earned a doctoral degree. Although one article had called him a modern-day Galileo, a closer look revealed that the title came not from any accomplishments, but from his habit of proposing eccentric theories, much like how Galileo was once dismissed as a crank. Even more amusingly, during the press conference, Corrado showed an image supposedly of the famous underground city of Derinkuyu in Turkey, but netizens quickly identified it as a dungeon map from a 2007 Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game, complete with labels like Magic Tower and War Tower. Such lack of professionalism made it hard for many to continue believing in the group. The person considered the core technical member, Professor Filippo, a radar expert from Starlight University in Scotland, seemed to be the only one with a genuinely respectable scientific background. In 2021, he had used S technology to assess the impact of a North Korean nuclear test. In 2022, he applied SAA technology to scan volcanic structures. In 2024, the same tech was used to measure river water levels. However, some still questioned if his SA and seismic wave combination was truly that effective. Why hadn't it ever been used in more prestigious scientific projects? Next was Egyptologist Mele from the Department of History at the University of Federico II in Naples. In recent years, he had published papers with seemingly academic titles like The First Heretic Pharaoh of Ancient Egypt, Khufu Hidden Messages in the Khafre Pyramid, The Horus Pillars and Divine Energy Tools, and 100,000-year-old star maps from the Restoration Age. But upon closer inspection, many readers found these were not the works of a rigorous Egyptology scholar. Finally, the most puzzling figure was the group's spokesperson, Ms. Nicolai. Her main job was as a forensic handwriting analyst. She frequently collaborated with prosecutors' offices in various Italian cities, investigating cases of forged documents, wills, and handwriting. Her most notable achievement was her involvement in determining that Mussolini's supposed diary investigated 20 years ago was a forgery. But what do such skills have to do with Egyptian archaeology? Why was she appointed as the spokesperson for a team claiming to study the pyramids? All of this raised growing suspicion among the online community. A research group patched together from fields that seemingly had nothing to do with one another. Were they really capable of unraveling the 1,000-year-old mysteries of the pyramids? What was the true motive behind their dramatic public reveal? Were they gambling with their own reputations? Still, it must be said they are not complete amateurs without a foundation. And because of that, the whole story emits an indescribable air of mystery, making people skeptical yet unable to look away. Despite a storm of online backlash, the research group remains firm in their belief. In the end, the data will speak for itself. They announced that they are currently seeking permission from the Egyptian Antiquities Authority to conduct limited surveys in certain areas to verify their findings. At the same time, the team plans to launch a live stream series that will present the full process of exploring the underground space beneath the pyramid from beginning to end. Some internet users who sided with the group also pointed out that in May 2024, another archaeological team comprising Japanese and Egyptian experts discovered an unusual underground structure near the Great Pyramid complex. This structure, located just 2 meters below the surface, was shaped like an L and lay to the west of the Pyramid of Khufu. On the surface, the area appeared to be nothing more than flat sand with no visible signs of anything remarkable. However, when the team conducted a radar scan, they found the shape of the structure to be far too precise to be natural. The L-shaped formation was 10 meters long and 5 meters wide, and beneath it was yet another deeper layer of construction, possibly an undiscovered tomb. Yet when the team requested permission to excavate, no permit was granted. In fact, this wasn't the first time Egypt had denied such research efforts. You might recall the 1993 incident involving Dr. Robert Schoch, who caused an uproar with his water erosion theory, claiming that the Sphinx was over 9,000 years old. At that time, Dr. Zahi Hawass, the head of Egypt's Antiquities Department, was forced to appear conciliatory, guiding a film crew to record footage of an ancient well to ease public backlash. But when the camera approached a tunnel leading deep inside, Hawass suddenly stepped in front of the entrance and ambiguously said, "I haven't finished exploring this tunnel, so I don't know where it leads. But I always emphasize one thing: you'll never truly know what lies beneath Egypt's sands and tunnels." Yes, those were his exact words. You'll never truly know what Egypt is hiding beneath the sand. So could it be that those in power in Egypt decided long ago to quietly conceal part of the truth from the public eye? Many believe Hawass acts like a curtain awkwardly pulled back and forth, but never fully revealing what lies behind. Recall a 2015 debate between him and researcher Graham Hancock, when a woman in the audience asked, "Does the discovery of Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, a site that shook the world of archaeology, change our understanding of ancient Egypt?" Hawass simply responded, "What then?" asked again. "Where in Turkey?" He muttered a few vague remarks, then quickly returned to his seat, leaving the room in an atmosphere of palpable discomfort. Graham Hancock had to step in, elaborating on Göbekli Tepe to salvage the moment. The camera even captured Hawass wiping sweat from his forehead, his face visibly flustered. In another response, Hawass once declared, "I don't believe in radar. Even though I use radar all the time in my work, it has never helped me discover anything new." A blatantly contradictory statement. If radar is truly useless, then why does he keep using it? It could be said that in that debate he was thoroughly defeated. And now, facing yet another media firestorm, those who know him along with the Egyptian Antiquities Department must ask themselves, is this new research group truly wrong? Or have they simply stumbled upon something they weren't supposed to? Even if their hypothesis about 8 spiral wells in a hidden city buried 200 meters underground is not entirely accurate, the aggressive efforts to silence them don't resemble a typical scientific disagreement. It has the feel of an organized attempt to suppress information, something that has become a familiar pattern over the years. If there's really nothing to hide, then why not allow the team to conduct their survey? As they themselves have said, let the data speak for itself. Or, as many have boldly asked, could it be that beneath Egypt's sands there truly lies something humanity is not yet ready to uncover? And what do you think, what do you believe lies beneath the pyramids? Don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our latest videos. For now, goodbye and see you next time.